Hello everybody and welcome back to Operation Logistics, where I think it's about time to spruce up this map a little bit. It's looking a little bit plain these days, wouldn't you say? Okay, so, first things first. I think we need to make ourselves some water. Now this won't be anything fancy, so let's go ahead and go into materials. And we're just going to create ourselves a material here. Here we go. I'm going to call it water. There we go. And we're going to color it, to be watercolored, which is somewhere around in here. Kind of a deep blue-green sort of thing. Right around maybe here-ish. And we'll go ahead and make that be plenty smooth. Maybe around 0.8. That should be fine. Do we have a normal map in here that would work? Actually, we don't. Okay, so first things first. Let's go ahead, and this is purely temporary. If you're following along, you don't have to do this. I'm going to create a plane, and we are going to make this plane have our water material, just so we can see what's going on here. Okay, this is purely temporary. Next, I'm going to go ahead and fire up GIMP, and GIMP is going to then generate us a normal map for this water. So I'm going to create a new image, and I'm going to make this be 1024 by 1024. Should be plenty, theoretically, ish. I'm going to go ahead and map, and actually I'm going to go to render clouds, difference clouds. Make sure that we randomize and make it tileable. I'm going to crank up the detail, and let's just make this be, I don't know, how big do we want this water? Well, we're going to have two separate maps here, so we probably want to have one that's kind of large for our larger waves, and for that we can turn the detail down perhaps to 8, something like that, and we'll have this at maybe 5 and not 8, at about maybe 5 and 5. Actually, let's bring the detail down to about 5, maybe 4. Okay, and we run that. Now, this is a plugin that I have that I'm going to be using to turn this into a normal map. The plugin is available from what website? Hang on. Let me pull it up here. The GIMP normal map plugin. And let me get this over here. So you can download this, I believe, from this code archive page. Yeah, this is the GIMP normal map plugin right here. So download this, follow the installation instructions, which I assume are around here somewhere. Go to downloads, and this should be it right here. Get that downloaded, installed into GIMP, and then with that there, go to filters, map, there we go, normal map. And this is the normal map plugin here. I'm going to fire up the 3D preview so that I can see exactly what's going on here. And it kind of looks like we don't have much going on. I usually like a scale of around 5. I feel like that works better. In this case, yeah, that works okay. Maybe because this is the larger, the larger waves portion, maybe we should go for more along the lines of 8 or 10. I think 10 is good here. So I'm going to go ahead and run that, and that creates our wave normal map. So I'm going to go ahead and go to File, Export, and this is just going to be to the desktop. That'll be fine. I'll move this in just a moment. I'm going to call this Water Waves Large 1024 Normal. Okay, export that. That'll take a little bit because normal maps are usually kind of exciting to export. And then I'm going to start again, new 1024 by 1024. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go to map, or rather render clouds, difference clouds. And this time I'm going to bump it up, make it a lot more finely detailed. So 16 by 16 is probably fine. Detail of 15, I'm going to get a new seed here. Yeah, that should be fine for the little eddies and such. Excellent. And then I'm going to normal map this again. Now, I don't think a scale of 10 is probably what we're looking for. I think a scale of 5 for this one is good. We can always scale it up in Unity later. Excellent. Okay, and now I'm just going to export that as well to the desktop, and I'm going to call that something along the lines of water waves small 1024 N for normal map. Okay, and with that exporting, that's great. There we go. And now we can, I don't know if I launched an administrator or not, but we can go ahead and create ourselves a new folder here. This is the button I'm looking for. Call it textures. Textures, there we go. Typing is hard. And I'm going to make a new folder here as well and call it normals. And can we just drag it in? Yes, we can. I did launch an administrator. Look at that. Fantastic. I don't need these on the desktop anymore since we have it imported into our project, so I'm going to get rid of those. Select both of these and change the texture type from default to normal map, just to make sure that it imports them correctly. Might as well set a max size at 1024. I mean, I don't think it actually does anything, but that's fine. Any of these other options that we want? I mean, not really. We can mess with that in a bit. So let's hop back into our water material here and take a quick look at our normal map. So this normal map here is our main normal map, and for that, I want to use the large waves. So as you can see, it creates us this. This is much larger than it will be when we have it on our hex, but as you can see, this creates us a decent look here, and let's go ahead and make sure that it is seamless. It appears to be in that direction. And what about in this direction? Yeah, that looks relatively seamless. Excellent. So we'll go ahead and put that back. And our secondary map will go here in our secondary maps. Imagine that. Right in the normal map. And we're going to go for our small waves. So you can see that gives us a very nice water effect there. Excellent. And then we're going to need to have a bit of a scrolling effect here. So let's go ahead and create ourselves a new empty. And this is just going to be like our generic scripts. Just things that we need on an object, but that don't really belong anywhere else. The hex manager could theoretically be repurposed for that, actually. So let's go ahead and delete this. Actually, we're looking for it by name. Never mind, I changed my mind. Get the game object back, and let's call this just simply scripts. It's just a generic script thing. I'll have it at 000. That won't matter for right now, but it might matter eventually. Okay, so I'm going to, for now, disable the hex manager so that we don't generate the world immediately, because we're not working with that right now. So with the hex manager disabled, you can see that we can scroll around our nice water, and we get a little bit of reflection down over here. Not a huge amount because of the camera angle, but we can adjust that. Okay, so let's go ahead and go into our scripts and create ourselves a new script. Actually, let's create a folder, call it effects. And in the effects folder, let's create a C# script, and I will call this water material. Now, we're doing this in a script. It's probably more efficient to do this in a shader, but for right now, we'll do it in a script. Okay, so we can go ahead and reload that. That's fine. We don't really need a start in this. So all we need to do, essentially, to make this work is save it so Visual Studio is working properly. And then in our material, all we need to really do is have some offset of our large waves and some quasi-opposite and slower offset of our minor waves, our little waves. So that's the goal here. So we need to get ourselves the material. So let's go ahead and say something along the lines, and I have no idea if I can get this from a prefab or not, because I need to get every instance of the shared material. That's going to be exciting. And if we enable GPU instancing, okay. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly if this is the way I want to do this or not. Anyway, let's forge ahead. What could go wrong? Okay. Public material. This is one of those instances where I am just making this up as I'm going. So public material, water material. Okay. So with this accessed, let's go ahead and enable GPU instancing. I think with GPU instancing enabled, this isn't going to work. But we'll find out. So let's go ahead and put the water material on our scripts object, and then move the water material into there, and it doesn't like it from the prefab. Oh, no, it works. Okay, excellent. So the next question is, can we set the offset? Well, we'll find out, but first, let's go ahead and do something along the lines of public vector2 large wave speed, and then a second one, public vector2 small wave speed. Okay, so now we'll be able to adjust our speed in our script here in the inspector, and we'll say that the X will increase by, say, 0.25 per second, and the Y by the same 0.25, but the small will decrease by 0.1 in both directions. So they're going to be going exactly opposite of each other. We'll see how that works. We can always adjust it later. And then in the update, we want to do something along the lines of, and I just need to get into the inspector here. I'm trying to remember what this here is called in the standard shader. So we need to do something along the lines of water material dot set float is, I believe, what we need. And we can go for the string name. I'm going to leave that empty for now. And we will say something along the lines of large wave speed dot x times time.delta time, since we want it to be a per second number. And then we'll do the same thing with the y variable. And then we will do this same thing again, not there. We'll do it there with, instead of large wave speed, we'll use small wave speed. Okay, now we just need the float names here. And I'm trying to remember what those are. Let's see. Unity standard shader float names. Google, can you tell me? Let's see here. Yeah, that you can find these by switching the inspector to debug mode, then inspecting the standard material. Okay. You can also select a game object, right-click on its material, and select Edit Shader. Perfect. Okay. So, select an object, right-click on its shader. Come on. Or rather, right-click on its material, which is here. Can we do it here? Apparently not. Apparently this is wrong. Okay. So with that being the case, let's go the other direction here. Let's see here. What else are we looking for? Ah, okay. So it's actually here that we do it. Maybe. Yeah, right-click on it, Edit Shader. Excellent. Here's the properties. Fantastic. Okay, so what we are looking for then is we are looking for... not parallax. Oh, where is it? Did they not have an exposed property for that? That'd be weird. Occlusion, emission, detail mask. Detail normal map. I think detail normal map is what we need, and I think bump map is what we need. So let's check that. Those were underscore first? Yes, they were. Okay, so underscore bump map. 2 capitals? 2 capitals. Okay, so if we've got this, and then in this one it was detail normal map. I don't know if that's actually the offset, but with any luck, that may actually just work. There we go. Now we could write our own shader for this, and ultimately that's probably the best way to do it. But let's go ahead and see. Do we hit errors? No. Is it moving? Also no. Now that is actually expected. And that's probably because of the instanced GPU. The instanced material. Almost certainly. So instead, let's go ahead and do something along the lines of, instead of putting the material in here, let's go ahead and do a mesh renderer. And then water renderer. This is really awkward, and this is not the way I want to do this in the future. So let's go ahead and do this. Yeah. I'm well aware. Dot shared material. Something along the lines of that. Again, this is really, really awkward and not the way I want to do this. That was not what I was looking for. I just need to do that. There we go. Okay, ultimately we probably want to make our own shader for this. And actually I need to not run it immediately because I did not put in a mesh renderer with the object, or rather with the material. Okay, is it working? I'm not convinced that it's working. Yeah, it isn't working. Okay. So, is it not working because I have the wrong property? I think that's correct. I do believe I have the wrong property. So, we're probably not looking for bump map. And with that being the case, I'm going to bring this back to where it was, because I much prefer doing it this way, if I can get away with it. And let's think about what we need then. We've got our bump scale. Standard shader offset names. Set texture offset and standard shader. Yeah, this seems right-ish. Okay, so it's a separate function. I gotcha. So instead of set float, instead we need to be doing something along the lines of water material dot set texture offset. And then we need to get our name, which would be bump map, theoretically, and then our value. So essentially this is exactly the same, but we can just replace set float with set texture offset, theoretically. Except this then takes, what, a vector 2? Yep, that's fine. We can just get rid of the second call here, and then we can get rid of the .x and .y parameters, and then just multiply that by the delta time. Okay, will that be functional? Okay, the variable water material has not been assigned. Yeah, of course it hasn't, because I didn't reassign it. There we go. Okay, now, again, it's still not animating. However, I want to check here. It's not actually animating here either. Okay. So, we are on bump map and detail normal map, but these might not actually be the correct names. Okay. In that case, let's scrap this. And let's just make ourselves a shader. Let's get rid of that entire script. And let's get rid of our scripts folder. Or not our scripts folder. Why would I say our scripts folder? Let's get rid of the object up there. And let's just make ourselves a new folder here and entitle it Shaders. We'll do it the old-fashioned way. And by the old-fashioned way, I mean the correct way. So let's create ourselves a new shader here. And this is going to be a standard surface shader. We will call this water material. There we go. Yep, that is fine. And here we have our shader. Now, I'm going to go ahead and bring in the standard Unity shader, and let me pull that up here. And we're just going to modify this based off of the standard shader source, which you can download from the Unity archive. But, let's see, where did they hide this at? Built-in shaders, here we go. You can download this from the Unity archive here, and then go to here, built-in shaders, and then open this. Go away, WinRAR. Yes, this is an evaluation copy. Okay, so then we go into our standard shader GUI. Those are the editor things there. CG includes. Where's our standard shader? Standard.shader. Here we go. Now that is opening in Notepad. That's a little ugly. I'm going to spare your eyes here. And I'm going to paste that into here in Visual Studio. Okay, that works a little better in Visual Studio. So this is the standard shader. I'm going to go ahead and save this, and we're going to call this water shader. Okay. And in Unity then, we will be able to select our water material, and instead of using the standard shader, we will use the water shader, which currently is exactly the same as the standard shader. Now, the next thing that we probably want to implement in this is we want to go down to where our... Let's see, where would it be? Go down to where our normal maps are processed here. Yeah. Shadow rendering pass. Hang on. This is the shadow rendering pass, additive forward pass, base forward pass. We're probably... Let's see, where are we? I'm a little lost here. Hang on. I need to go up further. That's all there is to it. So these are all of our properties here. That's just fine. And we need to find where exactly it does its normal map processing here. And it does not appear to be in the additive forward pass. What about down here? So the base forward pass is here. I usually work with not the standard shader, but in this case I do want to use the standard shader. So, okay. Where does it actually do the texturing? Like, I think these are in different files. I think they are. Well, that's awkward. Like, where's our surface function? Surf. It's not in this file. Okay, that's really, really awkward. Okay, in that case, we're going to need to do this a little bit differently yet again. However, it is time to put a cut in here, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the correct location to do this, and next episode, we will implement our water material. See you all then.